Okay, hello everyone. We are coming to you, me from the Chomo room of the Rio, Greg Merson live from wherever. Where are you staying, Greg? Where are you living right now?
I'm off the strip, like Sahara and Rainbow.
Oh, just living the dream here in the hot summer heat. Okay, so we have got a bunch of questions for Greg, and you guys are welcome to, of course, send in your questions to me right now from the chat. I'm just gonna kick it off. I thought there was a couple of doozies sent in. First of all, from Chad. Why are you playing so many tournaments this year as opposed to last year where your focus was mostly cash?
I think it's a combination of two things. One is the action has shifted to PLO, and I don't think I'm quite good enough to play the high stakes PLO games. And the other thing is just no limit in general. No limit cash has become a lot tighter than it used to be, and people buy in for less than they used to. I think the first summer of 10-20-40 No Limit at Bellagio, I think it was 2010, or maybe it was 2011, but multiple people would buy in for 10, 15, 20,000, and the last the last handful of times I've played that game over last year in 2012, people just weren't buying in very deep, and it just became kind of boring for me.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's just the way No Limit's trending right now, and with online poker being gone for 3 years at this point, with more online kids playing live poker, they're more comfortable sitting at a certain stack depth. Whereas prior to that, all those kids would play online, and the live pros would sit, 1,000 big blinds deep or 500 big blinds deep, and that's not really the case anymore.
Well, speaking of, having a certain type of stack be a little bit boring for you at this point in the game, one of the guys was asking how you maintain motivation at all after winning the main event, obviously the biggest, and then also like having so much money from winning it. How do you still stay excited to play?
That's a good question too. I think it took me about 6 months before I started playing well again after I won the main, maybe even longer. Uh, and overall, last year I took off probably more time than I had taken off in the last 5 years combined, and that really made me super hungry going into this year because I felt like I was getting a bit rusty and ready to just get back at it super hardcore. And I started my year off really well, and just it definitely just gives you more motivation to keep going when you're doing well. However, the last 3 or 4 months coming into the series, I was on a 200K downswing, maybe more. Just not always playing the best in cash, and also just running really bad. But I mean, I still feel motivated to keep grinding and like play myself out of it.
Well, that kind of ties in. TC0514 was asking, where are you playing mostly now? I mean, obviously you're in Las Vegas, but outside of the World Series of Poker.
Well, I went to the Bahamas at the beginning of this year, and then I did LAPC. Then I played a 3,500 tournament at my local Maryland casino. Then I played Borgata 15K, and outside of those are all the live tournaments I've played before the World Series, and then I've been playing a bunch in Toronto on Stars, No Limit and PLO. Um, yeah, and then I played the full scoop schedule on Stars in preparation for the World Series, just putting in a lot of hours and playing a bunch of tournament poker, getting ready for the summer.
Where did you go for that? I feel like everyone has some awesome exotic destination, but then they probably just sit in a room the whole time.
No, I just like have a nice setup in Toronto where the place where I used to live was a 3 bedroom and only 2 people live there, so I can just kind of like come and go and like pay as I go type of thing. So it's like perfect.
Oh, that's super nice. Oh, I'm not going to go for the name. Who would you say is the best German player?
Um, I would say Nicholas Heinecker is, but I guess for tournament poker, I would have to take Phil Bort.
I could see that. Okay, what do you think about Hashem's, who, I forget, this is from Matt. What do you think about Hashem's comments about the new school not being good ambassadors for poker by not, quote unquote, flying the flag after winning the main event?
Yeah, that's something that I didn't care too much about in the first year after I won, and then just I really started picking people's brains a lot more. The guys that had been around during the boom that got a lot of coverage, and just trying to figure out the importance of doing the small things to help grow the game and how important it really is. Uh, but I can agree somewhat to what he said, and I'm partially to blame for a little bit of that. But at the same time, like I love poker, and I think that I treat the recreational players with a lot of respect. I sign every autograph and take every picture that I'm asked to do, and I don't like. I think that I think that some people aren't okay with being in the spotlight like that, like Pius Hines. He just didn't want to do anything like that, and I thought I was going to be one of those people, but after 6 or 9 months after I won the main, I started looking at it a lot differently, and I appreciate all the stuff that's come with winning the main event, and this is my life now, so I'm not going to try to fight it. I'm just going to go with it.
What really pushed that change 6 months ago?
I think it was more so when I got to go out to the main event for some commentary, the 2013 final table in November last year. I got to be on the other side and see how crazy and awesome that experience is, and just to know what it was like being at that table and to watch it with no pressure or stress, and just see all the players beforehand, and then watch Ryan win was like the coolest thing ever for me. It just gave me chills thinking that I had just done that the year before, and it just like took a lot of stress off me, because now I was just like a part of the fraternity, and it wasn't just all on me, and it kind of just lowered the spotlight.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of pressure to come from so fast. Okay, so from DH Rubin on Twitter, if you could play one former or current Terp heads up, who would it be? Hashtag Terps, parentheses, Terrapin? I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, that's Maryland Terrapins, yeah. Man, that's a good one. I would say Steve Blake.
I'm sorry, these are athletes. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Steve Blake, yeah. He plays in the NBA now. He's on the Warriors.
Okay, you're clearly a big sports fan, because there was a couple other questions on here where they were asking about players and who you would pick, and I was lost. Okay, which fill would you choose to use your money to play? 1 drop, 2 main event, 3 high stake heads up. Which fill would you choose to use your money? Oh, okay, I get it. Which fill would you choose to use your money to play the 1 drop, the main event, and high stake heads up?
I would take Ivy in the 1 drop. I would normally take Ivy in the main event, but I feel like at this point he almost just has too much money to care sometimes. So I'll take Helmuth in the main event, and then I'll take Ivy heads up, high stakes.
And, okay, Ivy high stakes heads up and Ivy 1 drop.
Yeah, and Helmuth for the main event.
Okay, copy that. I know I saw a lot of stuff on your Twitter about selling action for the 1 drop, and someone wants to know, are you playing the 1 drop, and if so, how much of your own action will you have?
Yeah, I put the deposit in yesterday, so I am gonna play. Right now, I'm planning on taking 15% of myself, which I think is pretty standard, I guess, for the people that are playing. It might even be on the higher side than what most people are taking. The least amount that I'll be taking is 10%, but we'll see. I just started collecting money the last few days, and unless some of my bigger pieces just fall off the face of the earth and don't want to buy a piece, then it looks like I'll be playing.
Awesome. Do you know if any of your boys are playing already?
Yeah, Tony Gregg's playing also.
Got it.
So that's my closest friend that's playing.
Dennis Farrell would like to know, do you think online poker will ever become legal nationally in the U.S.?
That's tough. I don't think so. There's too many states that just I don't ever see it happening, like a South Carolina or a Texas. Uh, California or Florida getting involved is really huge, just because then these other states are gonna see how much revenue those guys are getting from online poker and want to get in there. Right now, it's not as tempting because the states that have it aren't very populated. Jersey, I guess, is pretty decent, but it's still only 9 million people, and just, we need so many people to pull from in order to have games and to have traffic. So it is really important for it to have nationwide legal online poker, for there to be an actual thing of online poker in the U.S. Like, them trying to segregate the players from state to state is never going to get anything going. They all really need to combine, although I don't think California will ever let anyone else combine with them because they know how powerful they are in the industry. I think I heard that they were 25% of the U.S. market when online poker was around. So that, I mean, why would they share any of that?
You know, just to be nice. Come on,
Well,
guys.
I'm gonna move to California if it goes there, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, there's worse places to live, that's for sure. Okay, Charlie Francois. I'm going with Francois. He wants to know, do people always have pieces of you, or are there any tournaments or series that you play 100% of?
I haven't sold for anything in the last 2 years except for the Guangdong Macau tournament, which was like if you took all the bullets, it was going to be 400 or 390,000 US. I think I only sold 20% for that because I knew it was going to be a really good tournament. But I think just the normal thing that happens these days is people just buy in full and swap with other good pros. So I have, I think, 5 or 6 guys that I'm swapped with for the summer and everything that we both play. And I like my team of swaps. And here's one of them coming in right now, Christian Harder.
What's up, Christian?
Area.
And I guess that means, well, he already busted. Yeah, we both already busted the 6 max today.
You guys can commiserate together. I think it's an interesting dynamic, everyone sharing houses together in the summer and supporting each other.
I love it. It's like poker boot camp. I love it.
Yeah, every summer we all come to camp, even though we're grown-ups. I think this is interesting. Rachel Morris wanted to know, what's one of the weaknesses that you corrected in your game that made the biggest difference?
I don't know. It's been like an evolution over time, just like constantly evolving and adapting to what's going on. So I can't really pinpoint one specific thing. I think a couple of years ago I was really strong in the mental game online, and now on an American site I'm really strong in the mental game. But if I were to play on stars in cash games, I'm on the weaker side of the mental game because all the kids that I play against are just basically robots. I mean, they're never like emotionally detached. They're just so on point all the time. Even if you stack them 10 times in 5 minutes, they're still just playing like right here. They're never going off the deep end. So I guess that would be the biggest thing I focused on, and that I credit my tournament success to, is just never really giving up on any event, and I really try to never just throw one away.
Good advice for sure. Speaking of, giving up, someone would like to know, and then it always goes away, but I know what the question is. Are you, Greg Merson, boss, intimidated by anyone? It sure doesn't look like it when you play. From something with a bunch of numbers and letters.
The first time I played with Tom Dwan in a cash game in 2011, I bought in for 100,000, and the first hand that we played, he put me all in for 4 times the pot on the turn. I think the pot was 20,000 on the turn, and he put me in for like 80. It was something just ridiculous, and I was really intimidated and could like feel his presence. This is like 3 years ago. But then the next time we played in 2013, I thought it was just funny when he was staring me down because I don't really think he's that good. Um,
And what happened to him? Where's he been? I feel like when I came on the poker scene, he's just never been here.
yeah, I mean he's in Macau playing the big games all the time. He's obviously like an excellent player, but I just think he's a little too out of line for the state of the games right now.
Hmm.
Um, but other than that, like, oh yeah, I guess the other one would be Patrick Antonius. The only time I played with him is in Bobby's room, and you could just feel like um, just the presence and just he's so good. So might have to get over that one for one drop.
Ha. Well,
Actually, you know what? When I played No Limit with Patrick, I wasn't intimidated playing with him, but we were playing PLO as well, and I just felt like I couldn't ever play a pot with him because he's that good at PLO. So
he's also just kind of a handsome dreamboat. You know, that's enough to put anyone off their game. Okay, Rich, I don't even know if this is a question. It just says Darius Miles, question mark.
oh yeah, yeah.
This is clearly like another athletics type thing.
Oh, Rich Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm on the Poker News team, so or not the Poker News team, the media team for the summer, the fantasy draft, and they were the only ones that knew I was playing a bunch of events this summer. I gave them the inside information in April, so I was happy to be drafted by them. And I don't know, I saw Donnie and randomly did like that to him for no reason, and then we couldn't figure out who used to do that, and it was a basketball player from like late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, it's stupid. I don't know. Like, who would ever do that? But
This is
so every
like
time I see Donnie in the summer, I told him I'm going to do it.
this is kind of though, right? Like when people bet on, I don't know. I feel like that's insider trading, sort of. Like you gave them the scoop, and then you also got on their team. Like I don't know. I don't know. This might be like a little bit illegal.
No, that's part of the fantasy process. You got to do your research, you know.
Do you do sports bet?
No, I don't, but I do have a bet on the NBA Finals that just obviously worked out where I'm a dog now. I bet someone back in November 6,000 that the Heat would win the NBA Finals, and they had the Spurs winning the NBA Finals. I bet 6,000 to their 5,000. So either team had to win, and if neither one won, then it was just going to be a break even. And back in November, I was a favorite. And now that they're actually starting to play in the finals in 2 or 3 days, I'm an underdog with that bet. So other than that, I rarely take action in sports unless I think that it's a good spot.
That's probably good. Anyone who makes more than like $8 million should probably just stay away from the sports betting action. Just keep
I fired the Super Bowl. I think the last couple of years I've bet like 5,000 on the Super Bowl, but yeah, nothing else.
Just makes it more fun to watch. Okay, just a couple more, and then we'll give you some free time to get back to summer camp.
Okay.
Nicole wants to know, after she gets into the money when she's playing online, she a lot of times just loses her focus. Do you have any suggestions?
I think a lot of the play when you get into the money will be determined on how much is going to first place, like what percentage is going to first place. So a lot of the times when I'm looking at playing on the bubble and deciding whether I'm going to play aggressive or squeak into the money type situations depends on how many chips I have and how big the bubble is. You know, is the bubble 2 times the buy-in? Is it 3 times the buy-in? Is it not even 2 times the buy-in? And then how much is first place? Is it 30% of the prize pool? Is it 20% of the prize pool, etc.? So like, if it's a lot to first place in comparison in percentage-wise, then once you're in the money, you should just be going for top 3 every time. But if it's a PokerStars tournament that's very level payout structure, then playing more solid and grinding the pay jumps is a better strategy. So I guess that's my advice for how to play when you're in the money.
I love this one, and I feel the same way about the elusive Mr. Tony Gregg. PH Dwan wants to know, can you introduce us a little bit more about Tony Gregg? I can't imagine a boss like you calls someone the end boss.
Well, people, wait, is Tony here?
Yeah, he's right outside. No, he was leaving.
Well, they just asked me a question about Tony. Here's Chris Klodnicki too. He just walked in.
Oh my gosh! Look at all the. This is the boss house.
So that's Chris Klodnicki, and Tony beat him heads up in the one drop last year.
Oh my gosh, Tony.
Yeah, I don't know if Tony's walking in or not, but
Did you show her our dog?
No. But Tony's N-Boss nickname. Let me just give credit to the original N-Boss, is Darren Elias, because he's just like
Darren's N-Boss?
Darren was the original N-Boss. This is Charlie. He's really
Charlie's the Uber end boss, obviously.
yeah, Charlie's
Super
super.
N-Boss.
He's super wifey, but
Me too.
yeah. So Darren Elias is the original N-Boss. So I started calling him that, and then I made that my screen name on Game for a while, and then after Tony won it, and it went out through Poker News that everyone was calling him the N-Boss. Some people on Game thought that I was him because that was my name on there before like he actually won. But yeah, that was funny. And now that's just his name. So I guess Darren Elias is like the secret boss now.
Now we have to come up with some sort of other extra name for him.
Darren Elias is like one of the best, I'll say, for sure.
Did you always want to be a poker player?
I'm sorry?
Did you always want to be a poker player?
Ever since I was 17, yeah. I started playing when I was 16, but I never really was thinking after the first few times I played, oh, I want to do this for a living. Like, I just knew that I liked it, but I never even knew that you could play like full time or anything. Really, I wasn't really aware that people could do that for a living.
You weren't thinking, oh, and maybe $9 million later, this will be my job.
Yeah, I mean, this is my 8th year playing full time, and each year that goes by is a big accomplishment in itself. Because even just in the last 5 years, I know so many people that don't play for a living anymore because they just can't make it. It's really just survival of the fittest, and right now it's not the best time to be a professional poker player. And if you're still making it work, then I think that says a lot about your game and how hard you work.
Well, it is always a pleasure to talk with you, Greg. I've only known you maybe for a couple of years, and every time I think I hear an interview from you, it just seems like not only is your game evolving, but you just as a person are awesome to talk to and hear from. So tell the boys hi, enjoy, give the pooch some smooches from Auntie Chardonnay, and I hope we catch up with you guys again. Maybe we can get Chris or Christian or one of them on at some point.
All right.
Or Orson.
Yeah. Or
Orson,
the end game. I don't know.
Orson's a kid in our house that no one really knows about, but he's really sick. So
Well, let's just do something with him, and then everyone will know about him. Done.
All right.
Bye, guys.
See ya.